Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway, where you can shop online and get easy delivery or free pickup. Whether it's enjoying fresh wings from the deli while you watch the game or getting ingredients for dinner, Safeway makes it simple to get what you need.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Hi, it's Terry Gross, host of Fresh Air. Hey, take a break from the 24-hour news cycle with us and listen to long-form interviews with your favorite authors, actors, filmmakers, comedians, and musicians, the people making the art that nourishes us and speaks to our times. So listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.
Here's a development you may celebrate or mourn. It looks like there will not be a Buc-ee's on Monument Hill.
At least not soon. The company behind the giant travel plazas, with its acres of gas pumps, the walls of jerky, and the buckets of beaver nuggets, has withdrawn its application for a site along I-25 in northern El Paso County.
The fight over Buc-ee's tore apart the nearby town of Palmer Lake, pitting neighbor against neighbor and bringing down numerous local politicians. The proposal was also condemned by Colorado's governor and U.S. senators because of its potential harm to nearby natural areas.
In a statement, the company said it's still interested in the project, but is taking a step back to consider its options. And in the meantime, leaders in Pueblo have been urging the Beaver to consider opening a megastore there. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel.
And I'm Bazi Kanani.
Coming up, investigation results for the shooting at Evergreen High School.
Apparently, the gun was a family heirloom and it belonged to the shooter's maternal grandparent.
Then, Colorado's elections officials are alarmed by President Trump's call to nationalize elections, how they're defending our state's system.
It's still very popular today, despite a lot of the disinformation and false narratives out there.
Plus, the family of a man killed by a sheriff's deputy in Douglas County want changes at the department.
This family has not given up. They have continued to fight. They've continued to keep Jalen's memory alive.
And the Broncos lost their shot at the Super Bowl, but a pair of Broncos superfans might still win at the big game.
Out of millions and millions of Bronco fans, how come the Denver Broncos picked us?
It's Thursday, February 5th. Here's the news in Colorado today. We're learning new details about the shooting at Evergreen High School last fall. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office just released results from an investigation into what happened. And CPR's Ava Kian is here to give us an update. Ava, can you tell us what the report said?
Yeah, we learned more about the gun that was used. It was a Smith & Wesson .38 special revolver. And its last recorded owner was a Florida resident who bought it back in the 1960s.
Huh, Florida.
Yeah, and that tracks with some of the information that the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office uncovered during this investigation. Apparently, the gun was a family heirloom and it belonged to the shooter's maternal grandparent. But we never found out how the shooter got access to that gun. A letter sent by the family's attorney just recently said the gun was rarely used and stored in a locked safe. But the family refused to speak with investigators, and so we still don't know how the shooter might have gotten into the safe.
And did the investigation reveal anything surprising?
It might not be surprising, but disappointing probably for some people that those parents weren't charged for either failing to securely store that gun or providing it to someone who's underage. One thing that was interesting, though, is the timing. The shooting happened almost 6 months ago, but the family sent that letter just a couple of weeks ago.
CPR's Ava Kian, thank you.
Thanks.
The U.S. Constitution is pretty clear about who controls elections in this country. Article 1, Section 4.
The times, places, and manner of holding elections shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof.
But President Trump is calling for something different, and Colorado could be one of his targets.
The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
Colorado election officials have been quick to sound the alarm about the president's statements. Denver clerk Paul Lopez, a Democrat, spoke to Denver 7.
I think it's absolutely outrageous. The claim that the president can somehow nationalize the elections and have one party take control of the elections. That's not what the Constitution says. That's not how the election system works. Those powers are reserved to the states. So it is against the law what he's saying.
Matt Crane, the head of Colorado's County Clerks Association and a Republican, says nationalizing elections would actually make American elections less secure.
If everything did everything the same, with all of the same equipment, with all of the same materials, it would be much easier for nefarious actors to do something across state lines, all across the country. So the fact that we have a model that's different from Utah or that's different from Kansas or Florida, that's actually good for our election security.
One thing President Trump has made clear he wants to get rid of are mail ballots, especially systems like Colorado's, where voters are automatically sent a ballot for each election. The state uses signature verification to ensure the right people are returning those ballots. And Crane notes Colorado came to its current system slowly because it's what voters here prefer.
We were responding to what citizens wanted. And that's what's great about leaving this power, these decisions at the state level, because we can respond and build a model based on what Coloradans want. And it's still very popular today, despite a lot of the disinformation and false narratives out there. Well over 90% of both R's and D's vote by mail.
Crane says Colorado's clerks are trying to be prepared for anything in this midterm election, especially after the FBI raided the Fulton County Election Office in Georgia last week.
We do talk a lot about what's happening in other parts of the country. And so we do have clerks working with their county attorneys. We encourage them to work with their county attorneys, with the Secretary of State's office, with their district attorneys, the whole legal apparatus, just to be sure. Before 2020, I would have said, we don't need to worry about that. But now in these times, we can't summarily dismiss anything, and we have to prepare for everything.
This week, 1 year ago, a police dispatcher got a call about an active shooter in Highlands Ranch.
We just heard gunshots from the building. Everybody's running.
A deputy rushed to the crowded venue, an arcade and bowling alley called the main event.
Code 3.
And within seconds of arriving, shot and killed the wrong person. Now, the victim's family is suing the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. At a press conference earlier this week, their attorney said,
"This family has not given up. They have continued to fight. They have continued to keep Jalen's memory alive. And so now we are on to the next battlefront, the next front line."
Jalen Sebron was 23. His family says he was out with friends celebrating his birthday when Sheriff Deputy Nicholas Moore responded to what authorities feared could be a mass shooter. Body cam video shows Moore approaching Sebron, who was standing by his car holding a gun.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun now!
The deputy shouted at Sebron to drop the weapon, but didn't identify himself as law enforcement. 3 seconds later, as Sebron started to turn around, Moore fired 9 times, hitting him several times in the back. Reacting to the video, his mom said,
"I can almost feel where every shot went through his body. And that hurts my soul."
Deputies later found out that Sebron wasn't the shooter. The gunfire actually started during a fight involving his half-sister in the women's restroom. One person was hurt in that incident, and Sebron's sister was later arrested. The sheriff's office ultimately cleared Deputy Moore for the shooting. In explaining that decision, Douglas County District Attorney George Brockler said Moore only had seconds to act and could only rely on the limited information available at the time.
What's important is the decision to use deadly physical force against another person. That decision took place in that very tight window. But what I wanted to consider, what I did consider, and what I've displayed to you here, these are the things he knew. And where there are things out there, whether they cut in favor or against the use of deadly physical force, if he doesn't know them, I can't really consider them.
Sebron's family strongly disagrees. Their lawsuit argues the shooting was a result of excessive force, inadequate training, and a broader pattern of unconstitutional policing within the sheriff's office.
We are going to show that the way he escalated this, the way that the Deputy Moore showed up on scene, the way that he did not give Jalen an opportunity to comply. He did not verify that Jalen indeed was the potential shooter that he was there for, even though it was aired over the dispatch that it was a female shooter.
No court date has been set for the lawsuit, but the family believes it'll go to trial and hopes it results in changes for the department.
We can come together. This community can still come together and collectively give justice for Jalen. And things like policy change, things like better training, all of that stuff is on the table in addition to damages, in addition to compensation.
The family's attorney said any damages will not be determined unless they prevail in court.
This is one of those days when the news is heavy. So how about a minute for something that's the positive kind of tearjerker?
We both had tears in our eyes. I mean, it was just like, unbelievable. Out of millions and millions of Bronco fans, how come the Denver Broncos picked us? I mean, I still,
Yeah.
How could they pick us?
Kevin Nunn and his wife, Sue, were selected by the Broncos as the team's Fans of the Year. As you heard there, Kevin still chokes up when he talks about it. Even though their team won't be at the Super Bowl this weekend, they'll be there. Look close, and you might spot them in the crowd representing in the orange and blue. Kevin and Sue, who are from Pueblo, are now in the running to become the official NFL Fan of the Year. You might be wondering, what does it take to be a Fan of the Year?
And we put up one shelf, and we filled it with helmets, and then we put up another shelf, and it filled up with footballs. Then another year later, we had to put up a couple more shelves because we had more stuff that we had to put up.
And then you keep going for the next 14 years. The Nuns gave KKTV a tour of the old Pueblo firehouse they bought at auction and turned it into a Broncos memorabilia wonderland. Jerseys, banners, bobbleheads. If it says Broncos, they probably have one. They often lend the impressive space to local nonprofits for fundraisers. These Broncos superfans are up against 31 other nominees, and they'll find out tonight if they take the national title for NFL fandom.
Reporting for today's show came from KRCC's Andrew Chaffin, CPR's Benta Brooklyn, Tom Hess, and Tony Gorman. Follow Colorado Today in your podcast app and leave us a review. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel.
And I'm Bazi Kanani. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway, where you can shop online and get easy delivery or free pickup. Whether it's enjoying fresh wings from the deli while you watch the game or getting ingredients for dinner, Safeway makes it simple to get what you need.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.